Good morning, everybody. Justin Poublon here. Let's talk about the storm that we have right now, and then we'll touch on the next one that's coming up this weekend. Just a brief recap here, and the storm reports are still coming in. I'm gonna refresh this. So we had that 8 to 12 zone up in this region here. Just careful to go north of Eau Claire with that. Something like that, generally. Um, and it seems to be okay. The problem right now is that it's still snowing in here. Uh, and therefore I'm not certain that we're hitting it yet, but I think we're going to at least the bottom end of the 8 to 12. What I'm not seeing in this region is 12, so I'm not seeing any even 10 to 12. Where I'm seeing the 10s to 12s are over here, or over in this region, and it's still snowing. Upper Michigan's going to get hammered today, so that's that. You can see all these different colors here. You can see the wind advisory in the south. You can see that behind all this precipitation, which is snow north of like this point. No, it's probably more like that. That's all snow up in here. Where that's where the winter storm warning is. So the winds are starting to kick through like this, and I'll show you that in a second. Here's the chase map, and I got there's a lot of lines on here because I drew a lot of forecasts for this storm, and we're just going to turn this from a all to the snow version so that we can just see the snow amounts. And one thing to notice about this is there is a little bit of the timing on it is that you're getting reports from 6 hours ago and you're getting them from an hour ago, and so it's not necessarily all like at the same time period. But there's also the differentiation of like location, and even just over small distances, you get large variation in snow totals. That's one of the reasons I use the range. But this four, that's got to be there's something I don't know. That's weird to me that that would be there, but it's possible. The ones that were encouraging to me were the nines over here, 9.6 near Bloomer, Wisconsin. There was another nine just north of Eau Claire there. So that's just a little bit further south. That's right on this 9 to 12 inch line. This is the 4 to 8. I was careful to make sure that Eau Claire was in the 4 to 8 zone. That seems to be okay right now. Um, can't seem to move this right now for some reason. And then the one area that was interesting, like I said, I can't seem to move my map right now, but down in the La Crosse area is where there's some higher amounts. Let's go back and take a look at this. You'll see right in here, there's a 7 or a 6 and a 7 down just northwest of La Crosse. And then even southwest of La Crosse here, you have the 5 and a 2 and a 4, which is way outside. So it's sort of like the snowfall went like this, kind of. And so that's what a hard thing. It was part of the pivoting of this. Like there's look a little pivot feature here that moved like this, and it kind of sat there for a while. But it's also where last night where that snow kind of first developed as it moved off like this. Or sorry, moved off like that. So, all right, current temperatures, and you're seeing a variety of variation here across Wisconsin. This is an hour old. This was at 7 a.m. It's close to 8 now. But you're seeing that 40s here across eastern Wisconsin, 30s with the winds pivoting out of the northwest across the western side of the state and north as well. And you're seeing strong wind gusts in here, but you're also seeing gusts pretty much most places except in here because that's where the low pressure center is. This is the warnings for Wisconsin, just showing you where, kind of like here, the winter storm warnings run, and it's kind of, yeah, it's one of those things. It's one of those things where, and then everybody except you guys, you guys are there's no storm there. And then as we go to the bigger view, you see just yeah the scale of the winter storm warnings here, and you have a blizzard warning up here, Keweenaw Peninsula, and then the wind warnings across Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana, and even lower Michigan. Winter road conditions, if you're out driving, the latest view is that you do have snow covered and slippery roads out across the northwest segment. I mean, the entirety of it. And then you have slippery stretches sort of into central Wisconsin and into northeast Wisconsin a little bit. It's pretty warm up in here, so that's why you're not seeing the snow or the slippery stretches as much east of here. East. Sweet. All right. Current wind. So this was, again, this is an hour old, but it's showing me where that low is here. Sorry, whoops. Excuse me. Still sick. I'm getting better, but up and down a little bit. This low pressure center here, and then you have again this flow like that. You're seeing wind gusts up to 40, 45 miles per hour here. I'm sure there's stronger ones to the south that just fall outside of this map domain. The 40s to 50s out here too. But yeah, looks like Wisconsin's sort of like in between. But this is what's going to happen. There's going to be moving in here today, and they're going to strengthen and get stronger. Yeah, as we look at windy, picking it up around 7 a.m. this morning, which is an hour ago. And then if we take it through time, so took a step back there. Notice these darker shades of pink and purple moving into Wisconsin as we go through the day. So this is noon, and then this is 3 p.m. and 6 p.m., 9 p.m. So basically, between noon and 6 p.m. is going to be your strongest wind gusts across Wisconsin. And if we go back and drop a pin at about 6 p.m., we're looking at about 45 mile per hour gusts in north central, up to 50 miles per hour in southeast Wisconsin. But generally, about 35 to 50, 35 to 45 across Wisconsin. That's why we have the wind advisory. This is the NAM. Why would I want to show you? I'm not sure. I think I want to show you the HR actually to just show you what's going to happen the rest of the day. This is the snow band main snow shield here. The one interesting feature is this. This is really interesting to me because there is the rain associated with the low pressure here, but then you have the snow and that wrap around coming in like this. You do have that snow part that falling behind it, the part that also brought like 4 to 5 inches of snow to the cross area, or around there somewhere. And you'll see that the storm moves off. Still snowing at around noon across portions of northwest Wisconsin, Hayward, Manitowish waters. Definitely still snowing up across the upper Michigan area here at about noon. And if we take it through time a little bit further, you see that even into the 6 p.m. hour, it's still snowing across the upper Michigan, and that mainly that lake effect region by that point. And then you're really pouring on the totals there. And then, by about 9 p.m., things are winding down for everyone in our domain here. So that's our storm. Again, we can go back again and just take one more look at this and see what's going on. It looks like we had around an inch of rain north of Green Bay, which is pretty high. I think we had it close to about 3/4 of an inch here in Oshkosh. So I guess anywhere between here and that 1 inch is that amount. But yeah, I'm kind of curious to look at some of the rainfall amounts further south in Wisconsin and see what those ended up being. Yeah. Okay, the one more thing I want to talk about. We're going to talk about more about this on our page today. Is the storm for the weekend? I didn't want to talk about it too soon. I don't want to get our wires crossed because there's a lot of similar verbiage that I would probably be using to describe the weekend storm coming up. Now the storm's going to be from Friday night through Sunday. And that time it may have changed. I'll have to take a look, but that's a long duration event. And it sort of creates issues communication-wise of people getting things at different times and not always the entire time. So we could talk about that here now. This is our current storm. This is the GFS composite showing the current storm. It's got a pretty good handle on basically where the rain and snow is. And this model, I will say, is probably the further north of all of them for the weekend, but it demonstrates my point the same, I think. So we'll go through it. This is Thursday. This is your Thanksgiving, showing not really anything going on across the region. Maybe some light precipitation starting to break out around here. But really, I wouldn't worry about it. It's Thanksgiving night, and I know that here we're going to Friday. We're starting to see some more flashes of activity to the west. But by the time we get into, let's see, this is 6 p.m. on Friday night, you're starting to see a lot of activity building out to the west. This is mainly rain, though. Mainly rain, although as it moves into Wisconsin, it's going to change over into a bit of snow for the northern areas. A bit of snow. This model run is not as aggressive with it. It doesn't appear that. Again, like I said, the GFS is the furthest north with it, and it's probably better communication-wise that this isn't that Friday night into Saturday morning time frame isn't very snowy, because then we can kind of backload it a little bit. But as you see the rain, it's mainly a rain event there through Saturday. And then on Sunday, things begin to turn because this low pressure system, which initially is moving up like this, now turns like that. It's like, okay. And things start to crash down a little bit. And you've seen that this precipitation, which was rain, is now cooling that column off and turning to snow across northern Wisconsin. And yeah, so that's an interesting thing to watch. It's not this is an unusual storm track for this particular storm. Going back in time here, you're seeing how that low pressure is moving sideways, almost southeasterly, even though it kind of came out of the southwest. So here's back in time. This is right at 6 p.m. on Friday. You're seeing it's over Colorado. I think that's Colorado. It might be Wyoming. And then it moves north, and then it occludes, actually, because it's fully spun around. You can see how long this band is. It stretches super long, and it's probably going to be a long and narrow band, not much width to it. But then as it goes through time, it just kind of keeps going, keeps chugging along, and you're seeing that snow across the north. But by the time we get to Sunday noon, it's looking like it's more of a scattered, not real organized, kind of in blotches and blobs around. So, you know what? Sunday might be all right. This storm might be all right unless you live, like, all right in terms of communication and impact. It might not have that big of an impact unless you live up near Duluth or up in the Upper Peninsula. Again, where in addition to the 12 to 18 you're getting today, you may also get another 12 inches this weekend, which could, be really good for business up there, I suppose. And yeah, but as you go through time, and then by early next week, all done. All done. Excuse me. Yep. So what are the early snow totals on this? I had something pulled up. Here it is. And I'm going to keep you guys way zoomed out, because I don't really want to go into the details yet. This is where I first see. Excuse me. I need a drink of water, I think. Okay. This is where just that general region is where we're looking at. Duluth into Upper Michigan. This, like I said, GFS was the furthest north. This is the Canadian for the same time period at 10-to-1 ratio, which should be okay. Much different, okay? And then if you look at the European, it's sort of in between the two. So there's not real good consistency on location. Okay, general location, yes, but specific locations, specific areas. Central Wisconsin, you could be any of things. You could be 0 or 6 inches. So something that we're going to be really hitting hard today, starting today. Like I mentioned, don't want to get the wires crossed, because that's the thing. It's why are we talking about another major storm when the one we're in currently hasn't ended yet? So there we go. That's all I have for you today, really. I wanted to keep it a little bit shorter. We're going to be watching how these snow totals come in. Yeah, 7, 6s, 7. It's like 5 to 10 across this region seems to be what I'm seeing so far. And it's still snowing up in here. So we'll see. It's one of those things, like the models yesterday and the day before, they were all consistent in that 8 to 10, 8 to 12 range. Whereas the days leading up to it was more like a 4 to 8 with some spots up to 10. And I don't know, because I feel sometimes that these models surge a little bit and they kind of overdo it. They get like ahead of themselves and they go up towards those 12s. When maybe it's just still back in that 4 to 8. So that's why I like that 2 to 3 day time frame. Because I generally like the models and the way things look, and then things kind of get hyped up a little bit. Though, like I said, it's not done snowing and not all the reports are in. And we will see how that goes. I'm curious to see how much snow falls up across this area. I have a 12 to 18 up there, and I thought, oh, geez, here we go. If I go up to 18, I'm going to draw too much attention to it. But I was like, yeah, definitely 12-inch plus. So where do you draw the line? I don't necessarily, at 24 hours, that final forecast, I don't necessarily believe in locally higher amounts. If you can draw a range around it, then go for it. That's better than being like, oh, wow, we got 12 inches when they only said we were going to get eight, specifically 8 inches. We got 12. Um, wow, that never, crossed my mind. Well, it should because that seems like a model. It was modeled that way. So, anyways, thanks for watching. I will keep you updated. Have a good Thanksgiving if you don't hear from me, although I'm thinking you will if you live in Wisconsin and you're on our membership program. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take